G'day and welcome to the Dyson Sphere Program. I'll just go through some really quick tips for starting up. Now, if you're on the star map, you can see this yellow and white dot here and the thing is disconnected. So I'm going to change our resources up and just hit random and keep going just through the different random ones until I find something that suits what I think I might do in the game, which I've got no idea really because I'm new to this like everybody else. There's some people who've got some absolutely amazing builds out there, and respect for them. But there's also some simple stuff that you can do to help yourself that is just basically about how to organize conveyors. This one looks pretty good. Everything's connected. The black hole is way off in the distance, but I don't know what you use the black hole for. So anyway, we'll get started. I'll skip the prologue and I'll just get us down to the planet. Hopefully I've taken the voiceover man away so you guys don't get him trying to cut over top of myself. We immediately, right now, I can see are in a really good spot to start with. We have got access to coal. The only resource that's missing from us is stone. Stone is missing. So we may have to have a quick look around for stone. I'll just quickly do that now. So this stone here, that stone node there, whoop, that's the stone node. We've got copper, there's oil there. Okay, and we're right near the pole. Okay, now the reason to be right near the pole, and that's going to cause us a problem, is to do with how the game does, how the game manages tracks and things for building. I just got to get this done and then we can quickly get into everything else. The first research we want to do is automation, so we can get access to the conveyors and storage. And I'll need to build, that gives us access to our miner, which is this fella. When you're placing the miner, they can share node dots. So you can see there you're trying to go on as many dots as possible. So we build a second miner, we can use the same dots, but we just can't crash into the machine itself. Now, I don't worry about fully powering up these early game because they still produce material really quickly. You can see how quickly the material is being produced, and we can just pick that up. And we're not building a factory right now. We're not trying to power it up properly. We're just trying to get what we want done. So I want 3 in total. I will want 1 for stone later, and I will just grab this copper node. It is a rubbishy little one, not very good to use, but I'm going to grab it because it's close to us right now. And actually 1.7 Gs, that's not too bad. So we need power for it, so I'm going to need another 2 power. And I can't produce them because we need access to copper, which is what we just did. So we're going to have to get access to copper ourselves for a little bit. Okay, we should have enough now to produce our wind farm. No, I need metal, which is why we did the metal first. Alright, let's get this built. I'm just watching the replicator go through its thing, building the different parts. As soon as we get access to the windmill, I'll put that down, and then I'll go and put a miner on the coal, and we want the same thing again. Now at the moment I want to save my time by not gathering everything manually. I want to do it as automatic as possible. Now here on this you know, we can obviously put this machine anywhere we want, but if you see one little bit of rock that sticks out like the rest, further than the rest, that's probably about your best bet that you're going to have. Getting one rock right in the throat of the machine, plus as much as it can see in the rest of the arc. So it's all done really well. Get our power going. Now we have access to our basic materials. So to keep our mech powered, we're running out of power. You can see down the bottom bar. We're going to need something that's able to be burnt. If you use the control mouse click, we can actually get access to the material. And here's our 50 coal already done for us. If we get ourselves in the right spot, I can just click each mining machine, collect off the materials, and we've got access to everything we need to get a good start going for all of our science and all of that material. So we're just clicking each different machine and sucking up the materials. So the next research gets us access to conveyors and other materials. So I just produce everything in 10s, dial them all up to 10, produce that. We need 10 of this. Produce that. That's going to produce 20, not 10. I'm just making everything up to 10 while I'm thinking of it. I can't produce any of these, but I'll put it up to 10. Just makes it easier for me later. I'm going to go up to 10, there we go. And we're good. So now let's have a look at the science. So this uses blue cubes, so we can't research it at the moment. That's blue cubes. This one we can do easily. This is how we get access to our blue cubes, so the science is easy to do for that one. 10 and 10, that's easy to do. That's cubes. That's cubes. That's cubes, so we can't do any of those. So in the upgrades, we've got access to a core upgrade, and then cubes. We don't have access to the motors yet. We don't have access to the steel beam yet. We need the recipe for that one, which is in the anvil icon. So that's the second one, so we can do that soon. We can do that one easily as well. And then the rest of these need yellow cubes. Okay, so anyway, so what our starting position is really good for resource, except for we don't have much land to build on. So we're actually going to run out of space really quickly. So one of the first things we're going to need to do or think about making is making the conveyors for ourselves. So I'll just go through the science, make sure they're all ticking over while we're talking. Now, I've got access to a few conveyors, I think, at the moment. Alright, so, yeah, get myself organised. Get in the middle of the screen. Let's grab resources while we're talking. So, from coal point of view, we're going to need a fair chunk of that. We'll need it for our power. Control click fills it up for us. Get access to it all. So you can see that we the machines aren't exactly slow. They're getting us resources out of the ground faster than we could have sucked them up ourselves. So I can just stay in this one spot and get all my research and everything done fairly quickly to just get through what we've got to do. So we're doing the cards. Let me grab a bit of conveyor while we're talking. No. 10 conveyors at a time. Now, in this game, the conveyor system is pretty cool. Now you can see here the ground is curved. This is where I talked about we're close to the pole. So up there is the pole of the planet. So if we build north-south, you can see that the grid lines do just here, you can see the grid line doesn't line up with the next row down. So building up-down on this where we are is going to be annoying, but we can build left-right. So what I want to get to is just explain that the conveyors are able to reach three lines across with the sorter. So what that means is this building, when it's using the sorters, can get access to the center conveyor and put material in either location. So that probably makes sense to all of you out there, in that that can be a viable option. So we can have this smelter producing metal plates, the next smelter connecting to so we want this to filter on metal plates, and we want this sorter over here set to rings. Now what that means is we can make a line of smelters all the way down on both sides, and you can alternate what they produce. So one can produce slabs, one produces rings, one produces slabs, one produces rings, all the way down. And then if you ever need to, you can just change the recipe, and if you've gotten your filters right, you just click on it and update it, and it will give you a new output. So you can go, oh, we need more slabs, let's convert a few machines. Now the hassle is, this is driven by a single conveyor as an inbound resource of ore. So if we start adding other miners, and this miner is running at a very high speed, this conveyor will stay full, and it means that we can't have any more expansion in the layout. But if we change this layout, and we made it logistically coming in from 3 different places, so we can actually have 3 times the amount of blue iron ore coming in. So let's just simulate that. So we've got iron ore on all 3 conveyors. That's our simulation, that's what we're doing. And now what we can do is we can have a whole line of smelters, and we're doing the same thing, but this time the smelter has access to 3 lines. So when we're running a lot of buildings all in a row, they can share where they're getting the material from. And then in that case, we put our material return lines on the outside. So we do the same thing. So we don't just make we can make, like, the default line close can be I don't know, whatever we like. So metal plates again, and make the other one the cogs. So it doesn't matter what the material is. If this is coal, these can be power plants. They can all share the material, and they can share the load. So when these lines come in, we can also balance them away from the main. So you can see we've got a main line coming in, and this will last us for a long while into the game. We won't run out of material on these lines, and we can run a lot of factory machines into one place. And by running 2 lines gives us variability. So if we've got lots of smelters all running along next to each other, they don't all have to be the same production. So this one can be producing, I don't know, metal, this one can produce cogs, and then the quick copy command is using the 2 the less than and greater than keys. So you get a copy of it, use the greater than keys, and you can paste it again. So you can swap the recipes really fast, and it makes it a lot easier to do. And I've just realized, in science wise, did I unlock thermal power? I need 30 cubes for that. So we need 9 cogs. Don't have any metal plates. So you can see this is a fairly quick start. We've only been going for 15 minutes. I've been talking to you guys and not researching, and we're already up and away. But what I wanted to get to you was be flexible in your conveyors. There's lots of options we can do in the conveyors. So the elevated conveyors are difficult and annoying and that sort of stuff, and they do take a lot of space. So what I mean by that is if we're running this conveyor line, through there, and we wanted to get over here. Now, trust me, sorters are slow. I'm all down for that's being a problem. But if I needed to make a ramp, which you can do, use your up arrow key, and I can now put an elevated block there. Well, let me build one. So there's our elevated conveyor. But in order to get up to it, you need to be a fair way away. It's fast, it's cool, it's all that sort of stuff. So I'm like, this is, you see how you can build it. If you get it in the right spot. Let me do that again. I'm going to use my up arrow. Yep. And there's our up and over ramp. But because the conveyors can jump to, if this is too wide that I can get across? No. You can use your sorter to get across your railway line, your conveyor lines. So that's just a straight bridge we can go over to. Now, if you're worried about, oh, hey, that's not fast enough, just add more. And that will be able to be as fast as a conveyor line will allow. Now, what it means from a building perspective is we can get hard up into that. Let's see what building we've got left. We can build into this space up onto the line. And still have the machines functional to still build. They've still got access to the conveyor. So what I'm talking about is on this side of the building where the ramp goes up, you can't connect a conveyor line to it. Have I got? So it'll let us do that one, but it won't let me go anywhere else up the slope. Whereas here, we can get all the way into that corner, and we're still crossing the conveyor lines the same way. So it's just some of those design things which is not fully apparent when you start playing, or not necessarily how you think you can run machines. Now, as you go up through the science tree, you're going to unlock better conveyor sections. So this one does twice as fast, and then here we're talking about tier 2 conveyor belts and lots of other stuff. Until you get there, there's hang on, I better craft these cogs. Yeah, so until you get to those sciencey things, how do you plan your base, and how do you get past some of the limitations? So we can do these, use more of these at low end filters to get the same job done, and then when the new one comes, we just replace it, and it's more easily done. So I'm not sure how many people want to go the different routes. There is different ways to do it. You can make this elevated over the top and do the same thing. I find going to the third tier of elevation of conveyors starts to do my head in really annoyingly. So it's just one of those things that you can get access to your different conveyor layouts, and just the different ways you can do it. And by making your material run in one direction and your produced pieces run in the other direction, it means expansion for your conveyor line, if you treat it as a single line, is infinite almost, and especially if you're running equatorially. So if you're running flatways around the planet when looking at it from, so where I'm standing is a line that runs north-south, the big bright green line. That's a north-south line. So that's north-south. What you want to do is expand in the other direction. You want to expand around the equator when you're doing your continuous lines. And if you think of it, don't build here where I'm standing. So I want to reserve this whole line, this whole arc in this direction for just metal, or for iron production, and I can go this way as far as I like. The game doesn't have any particular doesn't seem to be laggy or anything on the conveyor belts. It doesn't matter how long they are, doesn't matter how many you have. It seems to be optimized really well. It is just a matter of how much material is physically available on the conveyor belt for you to use in your production. There's a set number of pieces per minute. So when we click on a machine, when it is running, it's doing 240 pieces a minute out of this particular machine. So times that by 3, so I have 750 pieces a minute, about 780 pieces, 780? 720 pieces available in these 3 conveyors. So we can have a lot of output with just these 3 lines, and just pre-planning it. If we're producing, if we're making conveyor, like this whole time, my first building that I would make to make anything at all makes conveyor. That's what I know I need. That's what I know I want a lot of, so I'll make a machine to do that for me. And then making the layouts as crazy as you want is not taking mecha time, it's not taking mecha energy, it's just you're producing it straight away. So yeah, that's my starting tips, and just a bit of conveyor mayhem and mischief and makeup. Each person will enjoy what they like, and I'm all for that. But some of it is just like the simplicity of don't crowd your main machine, your main first line machine, and give space for 3 input lines, and then we can just produce. As soon as you've got buildings available and electricity available, you can start just expanding the conveyor line and just produce as much materials and output as you want. So that's what it's all about. Yeah, thanks for watching. If anyone has watched this far, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Thanks. See you guys. Enjoy the Dyson Sphere Program. It's pretty cool. I haven't made it past yellow cubes yet. I'm not up to the next one, but it gives you an idea that if you plan your spacing, you plan your space right, and I know a lot of people make squares and all that sort of stuff, and different ways of looping the conveyor for the resources to come back in. I go on load balancing by starvation. So what that means is All the machines at the start of the line, start of the header, get full access to all materials always, so they run at 100%. As the line goes longer and longer and longer, the machines near the end will starve. They will run out of resource. So depending on how you've got everything balanced, they're the ones that won't produce well. So by using the layout similar to what I was talking about, where I can make the front machines metal if I want, but I alternate my machines by type, so they're always producing some material of each type always. So I'm not running out of something specific, or I'm not trying to feed up another machine to give it the amount it needs straight away. And then by making sure I've got access to the basic materials as much as possible with the triple line in the middle, then the starvation process takes a very, very long time and a lot of machines producing stuff before we get to a point where you're running out of machines. And once you get access to tier 2 conveyors and you make the 3 conveyors in the middle tier 2, or even the highest one, your production facility output becomes immense, and it's minimal changes in order to make to benefit the highest outputs. Yeah, so I hope it makes sense to people. Just as you're starting, yeah, so the first factory to make is a conveyor factory, and then because you've got access to as much conveyor as you want, because you're producing, you know, thousands of conveyors, it makes it easy to lay out basic heads and tails of different conveyor systems for yourself, so you can end up with a really high output. Yeah, I might actually jump across to one of my other worlds and just demo what some of it looks like. Thanks, catch you later. G'day and welcome to Dyson Sphere Program. This is a layout demonstrating the triple conveyor header line. So I've actually got metal coming in from another nodes over that way, and you can see that I've just joined it in on the sides, and I can even see that center line has a bit of free space in it, so I could load balance from one line to the other. But what it's meant is I'm actually producing slabs all down this line to feed my terraforming plate factory, and it gives you the example that here what I've done is I've moved it around the corner, and I've still kept those 3 main lines of metal, and I'm producing as many rings as this system down here can handle. So like you can see there, the ring line is absolutely choked because it's not running anymore. And so when I run in that type of layout, you can see here I've just got the 3 different materials coming in. So this is my feed line. Got a bit of load balancing for oil over there, and then the feed becomes the science factories for the blue. It's actually making the components for blue, and I've got them running really low at the moment because it's all of the blue research is done, so it's actually filling up containers at the moment. So for generating oil, I've done the same thing. I've got my in feed, which is oil, and then we've got the power for science research is going in one direction, and then oil is coming back in the other direction. So my oil is getting stored down the way. So you can see that we've made that particular line double-sided with a 2-product process, and that's working quite well. So traditionally, what normally most people, this is the other thing I was talking about with having multiple lines. So I've actually got coal coming in from different spots. I've got load balance coal coming in from the other side, and then it runs down the lines. So some of these machines are pulling from more than one location at a time, and then down the bottom I've just left them to be specific to a line to get the resources off. So more than one conveyor you still function like, you know, I've got 4 I can't reach all the way across, but the edge ones are being used by the power plants primarily, and then they're taking from the other lines as well. So you can see here I've got as much coal as I can possibly burn, and I've even got it coming in over here on a 3-lay conveyor. But because I've crafted conveyor, I'm having no problem at all running the whole thing, because it's just conveyor belts are free for me. I go to the storage shed, pick up 200 at a time. So producing mass conveyors is easy. So yeah, so I haven't got much advancement on this particular world. I've got to go get my titanium set up and get my yellow cubes researched. But it gives you an idea of you can run lots of conveyors, and this whole side, this side of the conveyor, I haven't used much at all. I've only used it here when I'm producing these plates. Yeah, so I hope it sort of makes sense. You can like run heaps and heaps and heaps of machines, and I've only got 3 and it's on 3 conveyors, so it works out pretty good. And then over here we've got some stacked conveyors. We've got conveyors that are 3. Now here I'm running the lines of with 3 stone in the middle, and then the ones on the edges. So we're actually running a lot of parallel conveyors, and I don't really need to, but you can see this conveyor here is slow versus the inside one, which is faster. So anyway, and then these machines, I've noticed that when producing the stone, I couldn't get enough into the machines. So what I did is I've copied the stone line down the other side to get access to the machines. And then this is where I was talking about starvation, is the load balancing. So this machine is taking the last of that stone. So this is the machine that's running, the last machine that is running full speed. And if I come to the front, there's still stone going past. So this stone's going past. So this machine is running full speed as well. Only just, probably just not quite yet. So that's the starvation process. But letting it run all the way to past other machines is when there is pauses or bumps or, you know, power dips or whatever. They have a chance to rebalance themselves and catch up again. So yeah, I hope that is a tour that's been worthwhile for everybody. And yeah, conveyors, a lot of it. I'll just work out what I'm going to make next. Thanks, catch you guys later.